So in fact, I'll start with thanking ISBA and Dr. Prashad Shetty, Dr. Prashad Menon, Dr. Swapnil Sinha for having me here. In fact, जब शुरू में I saw the list of speakers who were coming here, I was absolutely awed. मैं कहा इनके बीच में मैं क्या ही करूँगा? And yes, but probably I am one of the most regular ones here. This is the third time I am interacting. And before I start, I would like to thank आप सबको, everybody who is associated with the startup industry, the incubators. Seriously, you guys are doing a fantastic work here. क्योंकि अगर देश को किसी चीज की रिक्वायरमेंट है आज के डेट में, if there is something that is going to take and transform this country into what we want it to be, it is this startup industry. Do you agree with me? आवाज ही नहीं है, सब ठंडे पड़ गए. Yes, that is what it is. And I have a special place in my heart for the startup industry, because अगर मेरे को लाइफ में लगता है, you know my background of special forces and all, and अगर मेरे को लाइफ में लगता है कि something that is as challenging or sometimes even more challenging than leading a special forces team, it is running a startup. It is sheer chaos. Seriously, it requires a very special kind of a power. It requires a very special kind of an energy to run a startup. Yeah, do you agree with me? So, okay, I'll just give a little background of people who do not maybe understand the kind of special forces or my background, so that you will connect better on what exactly, and when I say something, where exactly is it coming from. And let me start by telling you, a retired man with a mic is a difficult man. I hope somebody is keeping track of the time, because we'll lose sense of time, and somebody has to stop me. अगर fed up हो जाए मेरी कहानियों से तब भी रोक दीजिएगा, और अगर आपको लगता है कि टाइम ज़्यादा हो गया है, I'm sure there's a whole lot of we already delayed. So yes, so I'm from the Special Forces. My unit is 21 Special Forces, 21 Para Special Forces. It is based on the East. And Special Forces क्या है? Special Forces those lot of चुनिंदा लोग होते हैं पूरे आर्मी के अंदर में से. The most motivated of the people, they are selected, they undergo a very difficult probation training, जिसमें से चुन के लेते हैं. लेने के बाद में they are given the best of the equipment, they are given the best of the training, and then they are given the best of the men, and they're dropped behind the enemy lines. Surrounded by the enemy, you're supposed to fight, execute missions which is going to change the outcome of the war. आप ऐसे मिशन पे भेजे जाते हैं, we are fighting surrounded with the enemy. आप अपना रेडियो सेट ऑन करते हैं to call for a air strike. You don't know which drone is catching your movement here. 3 heat signals detected here. सीधा aerial bombardment, UCAVs on you, dog squads chasing you. That is the kind of life Special Forces guys lead. I was fortunate, of course, I did not go to war. I was successful. I got the Shaurya Chakra award, and then I was picked up to command one of the most elite commando units of the country. That was the 52 Special Action Group of the National Security Guard. That I was heading a counter-terrorist operation, the things like the 26/11 attacks. Yeah, if there's an attack like that, my team would go. And the worst, it is the only unit that is mandated for a counter-hijack. If you see a counter-hijack, aircraft gets hijacked, there was nobody else in the country mandated or trained or equipped to undertake an operation like that. So there I have handled pressure. जो पता चलता है कि अगर कश्यप fails, there's an opportunity. 20 साल में एक बार होगा. And if Kashyap fails that day, it's not Kashyap failing. It is the country which fails. आपके neighbors हंसेंगे आपके पास कि कमांडो, ये रहा आपका कमांडो. Why I am telling you all this is, of course, for a startup, you guys are way beyond what I can ever bring to table. But here I can share the experience of leading a high sensitive team like that. I'm sure all of you will agree कि अगर सबसे efficient small team of manpower है, it is the Special Forces Squad, जिसके मैं आपको बात कर रहा था, जो दुश्मन के एरिया के अंदर जाके ऑपरेट करता है, yeah, without any support, and it fights and it gets back. It doesn't know when, but it is going to come back. Yeah, so with that experience of leading a team of Special Forces, the most efficient team of manpower, I can share with you कि what matters जब everything else is falling across you, जब कुछ काम नहीं कर रहा है, तो क्या चीज है वो जो काम करेगी. Yeah, with that small background, I'll come on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to narrate a few stories, and we'll see how we can draw some lessons. So before I start, if I had to pose you a question, कि वो क्या गुरु मंत्र है जो सब कहीं भी आप डाल दो, that is going to work. तो गुरु मंत्र है, when everything else is falling, when things are not moving. Very nice, madam. Thank you. Okay. Before I come up with my version, बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाएगा तो please pardon me. I'll come back to this. I'll come back to this. You'll tell me what the answer is. Sometime around 2008-10, Microsoft was having one of its worst times. चेन्नई के अंदर they had 2 stations. दोनों को merge करके they were trying to make one. They were introducing a new technology. एक station का head, he had committed suicide. The other head of the station, he gave up his resignation and he left without handing over. So Microsoft was, अभी पता नहीं क्या करना है. So they found somebody Singapore में, Singapore office का, and this guy was sent कि जाइए, you go and take control of that place. ऐसे ऐसे करके है, they are somewhere out there in the hellhole. Get them out and see what you can do. So this guy comes. He lands. The next day, चेन्नई में सबसे बुरी बारिश शुरू हो जाती है. Day 1, बारिश थमने का नाम नहीं. Raining, raining, raining. Day 2 continued. Day 3 continued. Now this guy, वो I am अहमदाबाद का पढ़ा हुआ, मैं ऐसे कैसे रह सकता हूँ? I have been given a task. I have to do something. I can't just keep sitting here in my room and keep hoping that weather will open up और मैं कुछ करूँगा. कुछ तो करना है, कुछ करना है. So he still had that phone जो सिंगापुर में काम करता था, that he could communicate on VoIP. He starts calling up everyone, everybody, about 200 people in his team. He starts calling up everybody. He maps them. ये कहाँ, ये कहाँ, ये कहाँ, ये कहाँ. Then he sees the pattern. ये सारे जो हैं उसके ऑफिस के आसपास ही, they are all generally bachelors, young boys, young girls, सारे के सारे कहाँ रहते हैं. मैप करता है, and he sees कि okay यहीं पे है. He asks the hotel, कि श्रीमान आपकी सबसे बड़ी गाड़ी कौन सी है? एक इनोवा है. बोले ये मुझे दीजिए. He takes that Innova, he packs up his laptop, a small suitcase, something to live out of, and he moves on to the office. वहां जाता है, he calls up everyone again and tells them the boss is here, everybody report to office. Chennai is seeing one of the worst floods. बॉस पहुंच गया ऑफिस में, सारे एक एक दो दो करके अपना अपना सूटकेस लेकर के पहुंच जाते हैं. The office was in one of the most inundated, low-lying places, but then they were somewhere on the top floors. तो ऊपर ठीक था, ऊपर वहां इलेक्ट्रिसिटी थी, ऊपर ही स्टॉक्ड अप खाना पीना राशन. एंड आज के जनरेशन को इससे ज्यादा क्या चाहिए? खाने के बिना रह सकते हैं, पीने के बिना रह सकते हैं, बट वाईफाई के बिना नहीं रह सकते हैं. He got all of these. So these guys who came over, they were more than happy कि अरे वाह, ये तो सही है, बाकी सबके फोन भी काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे तो मैं व्हाट्सएप भी देख रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे तो नेटफ्लिक्स में मूवी भी देख रहा हूँ. And everybody there, they started having a gala time. They start enjoying. They start getting into good games. मजे करने लगे और धीरे 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 जब मजे खत्म हो गए तो उन्होंने काम करना शुरू किया. Yeah, काम करना शुरू किया. And trust me, in 15-16 days, people saw a difference. The EVPs, the CVPs, they started visiting. Senior officials, they started visiting, and this was presented as a case study. That station never looked back in terms of performance after that. What was the difference? Before I comment on what is the difference, you know who this guy was? Any guesses? This guy was Major Dipender Singh Sengar, Sena Medal of 21 Para Special Forces. You can Google and you can look him up. मेरे यूनिट के हैं, one of the legends. When I joined, not just me, everybody who joins, he hears about him. ये बंदा होता था. 48 kg का आदमी 40 kg का पिट्ठू पहन के कारगिल की चढ़ाई में सबसे पहले दौड़ता था. जवान उठ से अरे बाप रे ये कहाँ चल रहा है ऐसे. Yeah, that was how he was. Commando school में he was the first in every run. People to beat him, they would उसके रूम में झांक करके देखते थे खा क्या रहा है. रात में च्यवनप्राश खा रहा होता था. यार हम सब च्यवनप्राश खाएंगे. One of the operations, we moved into Assam, somewhere close by, not very far from here. He gets shot. He gets shot. गोलियां लग गई पूरे pelvis area में. He recovers. पूरा इंटेस्टाइन बाहर आ गया, इंटेस्टाइन को बाहर कोट में छुपा करके यहाँ से वो घूमने जाता था, शादी अटेंड किया हमारे ऑफिसर्स की. आई नॉट गेट इनटू ऑल दिस डिटेल्स, ये सब यू विल फाइंड देयर इज ओटीटी सीरीज जीत की जिद उनके ऊपर बनी हुई है. या तो आई नॉट गो इनटू ऑल द डिटेल्स ऑफ व्हाट ही डिड. ही गॉट शॉट अ सेकंड टाइम ठीक होने के बाद में, एंड दिस टाइम व्हेन ही गॉट शॉट, आर्मी सेड वी कैन नॉट कीप यू. मतलब आप फिजिकली आप यू कैन नॉट बी इन स्पेशल फोर्सेज, यू कैन जॉइन समथिंग एल्स. तो इसे लाइफ है तो स्पेशल फोर्सेज है. वहां से एक्स एनडीए समबडी लाइक मी जिसने लाइफ में सोचा नहीं कि फौज के बाहर क्या करना है, he cracks IIM Ahmedabad. He appears for 16 colleges, he clears all 16. Then he does very well there. He's Microsoft, IBM and all that. So he is the guy who went and changed that thing. Why am I narrating this story? I'll come back to my question. What is that Guru Mantra that is always going to work when nothing else works? Mindset, and it is a leadership. You find the right leader for a job, everything else, he will make things happen. Second, if I have to ask you, that is a team, a supporting team. But again, if the team doesn't work, it is the leader. You have the right leader. You have the right leader who has got a knack, जो बदमाश भी है थोड़ा मेरी तरह. उसको पता है प्रेशर पॉइंट्स कहाँ है, उसको पता है पेन पॉइंट्स कहाँ है कि नहीं? He can get any team start to work. So the first lesson I want to tell you is, the first thing is leadership. Now, if you want to delve a little more into this story, कि what actually changed, क्या क्या हुआ? One thing you cannot miss is the restlessness. क्या restlessness? Did you observe that? वो आया, रह नहीं सकता, मैं क्यों यहाँ? The same guy here in operations, he could not stay. छुट्टी से आ रहा था वो वापस, जब खबर मिली यहाँ से रंगिया के पास में कि ऐसे ऐसे करके खबर है, वो सिविल ड्रेस में गया जब the first time he got shot. How many SMEs here? Just 3-4, so I can get away with something actually. SMEs में मेरे पापा बहुत गंदा सा कहावत है, थोड़ा सुनने के लिए खराब लगता है. Yeah. So there is a कहावत, my father would tell me, जार खाबर जीवर मन, ही हागोतो आजोरे बन. Should I repeat that? I don't want to translate it as it is, but I'll tell you, it generally says कि जिसको खाने पीने का मन है ना, so old time जो वो saying, वो when he sits for that potty, पहले जब फील्ड में जाते थे तब भी he is picking up some shrubs. So I said this so that you go home and you'll remember कि ये फालतू की बातें करता है, but वो याद, it'll remind you of what I'm trying, the message I'm trying to drive. That restlessness in a leader, that is something. A man on a mission cannot rest. आप स्टार्टअप इंडस्ट्री में हैं, आपको अपने स्टार्टअप को हिट बनाना है और आप यहाँ पे नेटफ्लिक्स के चैनल देख रहे हैं. नो, आई हैव नथिंग अगेंस्ट नेटफ्लिक्स, सीरियसली. बट देन आपके अंदर अगर जुनून है, कभी ब्रेक के लिए इट्स ओके, बट इट कैन नॉट बिकम योर रूटीन. यू कैन नॉट बी एट ईज, यू कैन नॉट बी रिलैक्स. दैट इज द फायर यू हैव टू लुक फॉर. किस बंदे में फायर है टू बी सक्सेसफुल? अगर बंदा आराम कर रहा है, वहां पे बैठ करके अपने मोबाइल में गेम खेल रहा है, ही इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी सक्सेसफुल. No, you don't have time for any damn shit. Okay, keep moving. Next point is organizing your thoughts, identifying the pattern. Situation को identify करना. He saw कि अच्छा problem कहाँ है यहाँ पे? Problem है ये बच्चे सारे young लोग हैं. इनको एक जगह, अभी हर जगह चेन्नई बंद हो गया है, खाने पीने के लिए नहीं है, मैं एक जगह इकट्ठा कराऊंगा, इनको खाना पीना दूंगा. दे आर यंग, उनको मोटिवेट, गेम्स खेलेंगे, एक साथ रहेंगे, खुशी खुशी, द camaraderie, the brotherhood. And the last thing in this story that you can't miss is you look after your men and they will work. You create, as a leader, you are to create an environment जहां चीजें अपने आप काम करेंगी. Things will prosper. Yeah, so we'll move on to my next story. Moving on to my next story, लीडर तो हमने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया, या बाकी वाले तो ऐसे एडिशनल पॉइंट थे. अगर एक अच्छा लीडर है तो वो लीडर में ऐसी क्या खास बात है दैट विल मेक हिम सक्सेसफुल? अभी सबको पता चल गया कि इसका जवाब देके फायदा नहीं है, या अपना ही बोलेगा, या मैं अपना ही बोलता हूँ. So yes, yeah, lot of things. But we'll revisit this, okay? We'll revisit this after I narrate the story. 1971, April, March 25th को Pakistan launched Operation Searchlight. Heard of that? Awami League जीत गई थी elections, मुजीबुर रहमान जीत गया था. One of the worst genocides, Pakistani army ने एक side से मारना शुरू किया. They started from Dhaka. Every man they could find, they killed. Every woman they could find, they raped. More than lakhs of people were murdered. Tens of thousands of women were violated. Puri ki puri refugee starts pouring into India. Indira Gandhi, she was the Prime Minister, Srimati Indira Gandhi, she was furious. She called the immediate cabinet meeting. Cabinet meeting में chief को भी बुलाया. And the chief was Field Marshal Manekshaw. फाइल ऐसे फेंकते हुए कहती है, I'm sure you would have seen that movie. I don't know इस तरीके से बताया कि नहीं. But she throws the file like this and she says, yes chief, what are we doing about it? Chief देखता होता है, what do you want me to do about it? बोलता है ये रेफ्यूजी का आना तो आर्मी का काम नहीं है ना, आर्मी ने तो जंग लड़ना है. बोलता है if the army does something, there's going to be war. So Mrs. Gandhi says, so be it, let there be war. तो मानेकशॉ कहते हैं कि मैडम हैव यू रेड द बाइबल? मानेकशॉ बिग मानेकशॉ, बाइबल में लिखा है लेट देयर बी लाइट, गॉड कहते हैं एंड देयर इज लाइट. यू आर द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, यू से लेट देयर बी वॉर एंड देयर इज गोइंग टू बी वॉर. आर वी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर वॉर? आज अप्रैल है, 2 महीने के अंदर द passes on the Himalayas are going to open. If the Chinese mobilize, you will know कि हम लड़ाई यहां करें या लड़ाई के लिए मैं फोर्स वहां भेजूं. 2 महीने में मॉनसून शुरू हो जाएगा. Monsoon in Bangladesh is like it becomes in one big huge water body. They are just pockets of land. High land कहीं कहीं पे है. आपकी फोर्सेस उन हाई लैंड्स पे आइसोलेट हो जाएगी. There will be no logistic supply. And the Pakistani Air Force, which is better off than ours, is going to have a field day. Just आएगी और सिर्फ नॉकआउट करेगी. Then he turns to the defense minister, says कि मेरे आर्मड रेजिमेंट के अंदर I need to have 45 tanks. As on date, I just have 8 tanks. कहता ये कैसे आप बात कर रहे हैं सैम जी? कहता सर देख लो आप, how many times I have requested you. You do not have the funds coming. War is not joke कि ऐसे ही आप चले जाएंगे war पे. Then he turns to the agriculture minister and says कि सर आज के डेट पे, oh sorry, he doesn't say sir, he was very particular about it. जो भी है, he says आज के डेट पे if there is war, I am going to need all the load carriers to transport my men into battle. आपका फसल कटा है. Your फसल is going to rot lying out there in the fields because it will not reach the market because the vehicles, I am going to need all that. श्रीमती गांधी फाइल बन के बोला dismiss everybody, I want everybody out. And when everybody was leaving, he tells Field Marshal Manekshaw ki you stay back. And again, Field Marshal Manekshaw being Manekshaw, he says ki madam, you want me to render my resignation on terms of physical ground या mental ground? तो कहते हैं no, shut up, sit down. Then they have a discussion. And then you know what the history is, right? 3rd of December, Pakistan preempted the war. In 13 days, 93,000 surrenderies. A new nation was born. Whatever be the state. But that is one decisive victory जो कभी नहीं हुआ है. And not just talking about the Indian Army, global victories में से एक गिना जाता है ये. 93,000 people हमारे forces से ज्यादा थे वहां पे वो. But they were beaten. तो ये स्टोरी मैं आपको क्यों सुना रहा हूं? Now coming back to my home. What are the lessons that we draw? Anyone can help me with this? Sorry, sir? Yes, sir. Vision. With vision, I would like to say it's professionalism. आपको अगर आपके चार्टर के बारे में नहीं पता है, लीडर्स क्या करना है? लीडर ने लीड करना है ना, तो लीड करने के लिए क्या करना है आपको? You should know the way. That is professionalism. That is vision जो सर कह रहे हैं. अगर आपको लीड करने के लिए रास्ता नहीं पता है, आप इधर उधर भटक रहे हैं, then how will you lead? So a leader, you need to have the most professional guy. He has to be professionally true. तो उसको पता होना चाहिए. The devil lies in detail. ये सब कैसे उसको पता था एज ए चीफ, मतलब he didn't have to know all this कि भैया आपकी गाड़ियां चाहिए होंगे, वहां से पास खुल जाएगा, यहाँ से he knew beforehand, before going on to that meeting, this guy knew कि ये क्या बोलने वाली है, तैयारी करके गया था ना. So that is professionalism, knowing the details. Now one more thing, you cannot miss something else. If you, this is Manekshaw. If you had to look at the personality of Mrs. Gandhi, Srimati Gandhi, कुछ है वहां पे? Anything that you can draw a lesson out of? You imagine a cabinet meeting. सारे बैठे हुए हैं आपको रेस्पेक्ट करने वाले, यस मैम, यस मैम, मैम मैम, यस मैम, यस मैम करने वाले, और उसमें सबके सामने इट इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक समबडी इंसल्टिंग यू कि मैम यू आर सेइंग दिस एंड इट कैन नॉट हैपन एंड इट दिस टर्म एंड येट शी एक्सेप्टेड. समझ रहे हैं मैं क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं आपको? Yes, it requires a courage, a special kind of courage where your personal ego is inferior. What is superior is the interest of the mission, whatever. For your startup, it could be something else. Yeah, interest of the organization comes first. मेरा personal ego, it can wait. ठीक है. इंदिरा गांधी बाद में पे रोक दिया था. Manekshaw का for all you know, but this is not a matter of our discussion today. But that day, he went by what General Manekshaw then he said. That requires a special kind of a courage where you listen to a subordinate and take his idea. You know, ये subject matter specialist है. If I don't listen to him, बात नहीं बनेगी. And you listen to him. अगर अकबर के कोर्ट में बिरबल इज द स्मार्टेस्ट मैन जो सारे डिसीजन में एडवाइस करता है, इट डज नॉट मीन अकबर उल्लू है. समझ रहे हो आप क्या कह रहा हूं मैं? अकबर के कोर्ट में अगर बिरबल इज द स्मार्टेस्ट गाय हु टेक्स ऑल द डिसीजंस, इट डजंट मीन कि बिरबल अकबर उल्लू है. ही इज द स्मार्टेस्ट गाय. As it is said, a smart man hires men smarter than himself to work for him. That is what it is. So yes, Mrs. Gandhi said there is a lot to वो कि भैया, there are a lot of theories. I'll not go into too much of detail इसी के अंदर. So we've spoken about professionalism. Okay, now we'll come to specifics about a startup. स्टार्टअप में जैसे हमने बात की, सबसे ज्यादा है chaos. Yeah? Okay. So, is there any relation that you would see between chaos and decision? And leadership? chaos और leadership में कोई decision है? मैं इसको दोबारा घुमा के बोलता हूँ, फिर बोलेंगे इसको बोल के फायदा नहीं है. But okay. When there is no chaos, is there a leader required? Very right, sir. Very right. But मैं जो point make करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ वो थोड़ा सा अलग है. वो ये है, let me make it little more. एक पोस्टमास्टर है, उसका काम है, चिट्ठी आता है, कहाँ का चिट्ठी है वो स्टैंप लगाना है और भेज देना. कहाँ का चिट्ठी है स्टैंप लगाना है, भेज देना. Do you need a leader there? There is a system in place. There is a SOP in place. You need a leader there. The point I'm trying to make here is you need leaders where you need to take a decision. Are you guys with me, please? आपको जब डिसीजन लेना है ना, तब आपको लीडर चाहिए. सिर्फ अगर एसओपी फॉलो करना है, सिर्फ अगर आदेश का पालन करना है, यू डोंट नीड लीडर्स. तो कोई भी कर लेगा. Sometime around 1800s की बात है. There's a famous general by the name of Prince Frederick Charles in the Austrian court. उनका कोर्ट का बड़ा फेमस इंसिडेंट है. Austrians were like fighting machines. सिर्फ लड़ाई करना है, आपस में लड़ते रहते थे, वो बात अलग है. बट सिर्फ लड़ाई करना है, सिर्फ युद्ध करना है. And so we do a lot of study on them. तो उनके कोर्ट का है, they had lost a battle, not the war. एक छोटा सा बैटल हार गए थे. तो दे आर मार्चिंग अप ए कमांडिंग ऑफिसर. उसको बुलाते हैं और बोलते हैं कि व्हाई डिड यू डू दिस. For this, we lost the battle. And this gentleman says, sir, I was only following orders. Sir, I was only following orders. You know what the prince says? The king gave you a commission because he thought you will know when not to obey orders. राजा ने आपको कमीशन, आपको ऑफिसर तब बनाया है क्योंकि उनको लगा कि आपको पता होगा कि आदेश कब पालन करना है, कब पालन नहीं करना है. You cannot hide behind, as a leader, you cannot hide behind, ये तो इसने बोला था, ये तो उसने बोला था, ये तो एसओपी में लिखा है. नहीं, अगर एसओपी में लिखा है, you don't need a leader there. So if you're trying to drive a culture of leadership, it is ownership. I am just not trying to say कि आप blatantly you can disobey any orders, कि नहीं नहीं ये तो नहीं होगा. No, that's not what I am trying to say. And neither I am saying that you have to blatantly obey every order. लोग नहीं समझे आप लोग. Yeah, what I am trying to say, orders, SOPs कुछ भी हैं. You are the man on ground. You are to take decision. And whatever decision you take, you have to be responsible for that. कि सही है, मैं orders follow कर रहा हूँ, I am responsible. Orders follow नहीं कर रहा हूँ, yet I am responsible. You cannot hide behind anything. Are you getting what I am trying to say, please? बिल्कुल लकीर के फकीर, एकदम सबसे गलत चीज है ये. आप लोग से ज्यादा the startups are going to face it when they are interacting with, I should not be saying, but government agencies के साथ में. नहीं ये तो लिखा हुआ है वहां पे. ऑफिस देखा है ना आप लोगों ने, आई एम श्योर यू हैव सीन. ये तो लिखा हुआ है, ये तो भय लिखा हुआ है. उनको बताइए कि जागो. सिर्फ ग्राहक जागने से नहीं होगा, आपको भी जागना पड़ेगा. टॉक अबाउट 1990s, ये मैंने कई जगह बता रखा है, आई एम श्योर आप लोग में से भी कुछ लोगों ने सुना होगा. टॉक अबाउट 1990s, कश्मीर वन ऑफ द वर्स्ट इंसर्जेंसी फेज चल रहा था. हर दिन दे हैड स्टार्टेड विद, कोई भी आर्मी वाला मिलता था, पुलिस वाला मिलता था, ग्रेनेड फेंक के भाग जाते थे. मैसिव कैजुअलिटीज आर्मी वाज बाइंग, and that is the time I'm talking about. And you know what the special forces are. So one of the special forces units, we keep going on operations. वापस आना, जाना, वापस आना, जाना, वापस आना. तो एक नई टीम ऑपरेशन के लिए गई थी वहां पे. एंड जाते ही, वैसे तो you should not be seen, but these guys were on an area familiarization patrol. वो देखने के लिए गए थे कि एरिया कैसा है. तो ये जाते हैं बाहर चलते हुए. And coincidentally, that was the same time one of the fresh militant groups had just infiltrated from Pakistan and they were on a lookout. और वो बैठे हैं, then suddenly they see कि ये आर्मी के लोग आ रहे हैं, ये नए हैं, इनको भी पता नहीं है. ये पूरा डिप्लॉय होते हैं कि अरे अभी तो मजा आएगा, हम तो आए ही थे और हमें we got good success. Just before striking, something strikes him. वो कहता है यार एक बार मैं अपने हैंडलर से बात कर लेता हूँ. And he communicates on his radio set, which is actually documented and it is recorded. कहता है जनाब ऐसे ऐसे करके सामने है and we're going to give you good news. तो उसका जो पीछे जो हैंडलर था, he says कि just describe how they look in that area. I don't think anybody should be there. So he describes कि oh they are all normal people. It's just they are carrying huge rucksack और वो सिर में ना वो ग्रीन कलर का कुछ पटका टाइप का बांध रखा है. Now that was the time. These were trademark only of the special forces. We would carry those huge too because we would go out for long durations and we were the only ones who were wearing those patkas. उसका हैंडलर कहता है don't even think of targeting them. They will burn you alive. मत करना, ये स्पेशल फोर्सेस हैं, पीछे निकल जाओ. So that was the awe of the special forces. Now why am I telling this to you? This did not just happen overnight. ये जो माहौल बना ना, this was a deliberate mission by all the special forces guys working out there. जो मैंने आपको बताया था ना, reading of the environment initially. This is what they went there. They read the environment कि माहौल क्या है. माहौल ये है कि militants बिना civilians के help के कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे. Militants जायजा कैसे लेते हैं? Interacting with the civilians. So you have to influence the civilian minds. And to influence the civilian minds, they put on acts, they did what not, to show them, you take panga with us, you had it, man. And that was the message that was driven to those guys. What I'm trying to tell you is कि आपने माहौल का जायजा लेना बहुत जरूरी है. If you have not, the same thing that Major Singer did. If you do not appreciate the mahol, if you do not appreciate what the situation is all about, I'm going to go all wrong about it. Okay, no, thank you so much. I mean, I'll just say that it's been absolute pleasure being here. And in case we have time, should I wait for anybody to ask me anything? And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.